What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Scouting Combine here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. I'm joined by my co-host Eric Smith. How we doing today, bud?
Hey, pretty good. First week of no coaching for me this week. So, been driving myself crazy trying to figure out how to exist without, showing up to football every day.
Of course, and we'll be getting into some film review of the Dolphins defense up against this Arizona Cardinals and a little bit of eye-opening stuff from this Dolphins defense. We expected them to be shut down, but Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals actually did really well up against this defense. And before we get into it, we have a special guest, Alfredo Artiaga, up 3 yards per carry.
How you doing, guys?
Doing all right, doing all right. Alf, before we get into this film review, what was your initial thoughts after the game for the Dolphins?
I thought they just got Kyler Murray'd. I think they had some good play calls on for some of the situations. They had a couple of play calls that were obviously off, but I didn't think that we were called necessarily a bad game. I know that they had 6 free rushers, and in those 6 free rushers, they got 6 pressures and they got no sacks.
Yep.
When you commit an extra guy, especially to the field side, okay, against somebody like Kyler Murray, you got to get to him. You got to get him down. If you don't get him down, it's not going to work for you, man. And he's going to make plays like he did with his legs.
Yep, he did. And this is actually the analytics of the Dolphins defense up against the Cardinals. In terms of EPA per play, they were the third worst defense last week. Only Seattle and Cincinnati were worse, and Seattle played Buffalo, and we'll take a look at that Seattle-Buffalo game as a precursor to the Dolphins-Bills. In terms of success rate, the Dolphins were also the third worst defense. In terms of pass EPA, they were the fourth worst. In terms of, success rate, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, seventh worst defense. Up against the run, they were 21st. In terms of EPA and up against the run in success rate, they were 24th worst. By the numbers, by the analytics, it was not a good showing for this Dolphins defense. And Eric, when we talk about up against the pass and up against Kyler Murray, is this something we expected the Dolphins defense to do when we did our preview show last week?
Yeah, I mean, we expected, to struggle with mobile quarterbacks. I mean, the Dolphins have always done that. We expected tight ends to be an issue. That seems to be a common thing and not a great situation, with the Bills coming up this week. But I don't think it's unsurprising that it wasn't a dominant defensive performance by any means.
Yeah, and when we get into the quarterback analytics as well, Kyler Murray had a fantastic day, 90th percentile in EPA per play. His QBR was a 76.3, and he made the final play that actually led the Arizona Cardinals to win this game and set up to a go-ahead field goal. The Cardinals were in the green in terms of every single offensive type of play. Early rush, early pass, late rush, late pass. The Dolphins couldn't necessarily get any stops towards the later part of the game, and they got absolutely boned by Trey McBride as he absolutely feasted on the Dolphins linebackers. Alf, was this something you expected when you did your preview show on the 3 Yards Per Carry podcast?
Yeah, the Cardinals have one of the more simpler, and this is the great thing about this game on Sunday, by the way. The Cardinals have one of the more simpler offensive philosophies in all of football. They play everything between the numbers. They really don't have a deep threat. They don't stretch the field. They don't even try to stretch the field. They try to run the ball. They'll pull guards. They'll run counters. They run very, very little outside zone. They throw a lot of option routes to their tight ends. And most of the routes that they run with the wide receivers are 2-4-6s in toward the hash, and especially to the field side, it is precisely what Buffalo runs. So Miami will be facing the more grown-up version of this offense on Sunday in the Buffalo Bills. But the Cardinals literally did absolutely nothing that was unexpected. That's the Cardinal offense. That's what they do.
Right. And Drew Petzing doesn't even necessarily come from the style of Buffalo play. I mean, he used to be with the Vikings and he used to be with the Browns as the tight end and quarterback coach until he got hired as offensive coordinator in 2023. No connection to Buffalo whatsoever. And when we take a look at the Bills and Joe Brady and how they run the offense, it seems a little bit similar play wise, but the philosophies don't even mesh together from the coaching tree or any type of coaching tree from there. So it's going to be interesting to see. All right, we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of the blitzes Anthony Weaver called. Most of the blitzes from the defensive backroom came from Jalen Ramsey, who primarily played in the slot over Cater who was out for that game. We'll take a look at this very first play right here in the first quarter. 2nd and 6 right here. We'll go ahead and run the play. Motions. Batted ball. Ramsey could have had a clean shot if the running back didn't chip him at all.
Yeah, I don't think he's. I don't think. I think you want to avoid him right there as much as possible, because if you got to look at the picture that Ramsey's getting when he's coming on his blitz, that the other view was better. The picture he's getting when he's coming on his blitz is that of pass pro. So he's dipping his shoulder to try to get around him. He doesn't see that it's a screen behind him, and that's really on David Long. Notice how David Long gets his drop going. He has to call out that screen. He has to flatten out, and you see he tries to take away the hash right away because he sees the free release on Ramsey's guy because Ramsey, fired. So he's trying to get out to the hash. Ramsey doesn't know it's a screen right behind him. Good play by Ramsey, but remember he doesn't see what's happening behind him. As far as he knows, he thinks it's pass pro, and James Conner thinks that he just got lucky that Jalen Ramsey avoided him.
3rd and 6 right here. Eric, what are you seeing on the offensive line of the Cardinals right here?
Well, I mean, you got what is that? One linebacker are mugged up there against the center, so it's probably going to get just a straight up 5-on-5 type pass blocking here. Likely going to have somebody dropping out. Looks like Ramsey's kind of floating around over there. Typically, you'll still see the offensive line stay to the inside, and this would be either the back comes across or this is a known free rusher. That's one thing that Kyler Murray did really well in this game was a lot of times when there's a blitz, the quarterback wants to hit the receiver that's going to the area that blitzer vacates. And that's why you get a free rusher sometimes. And Kyler Murray did a good job of that in this game.
Yep, you have the mugged up linebacker going out into coverage, and Jordan Brooks hits this gap right here, and you have Cam Smith coming on the defensive back blitz. And the ball is just batted down in the air. Let's take a look at the coverage right here. Kyler Murray is seeing Marvin Harrison run right past Jalen Ramsey right there. He tries to throw the ball for a big gain. And if the ball wasn't batted down, this could have been a potential touchdown right there. Really good vision by Kyler Murray on there.
Play it again. Play that play again one more time.
Let me get back to it. Here we go. Just let me know when to stop.
Just let it run. All right. Yeah, I'm not sure what. I'm not sure with his arm angle. I don't think. I think that.
You think it could have been going to Trey McBride?
Yeah, with his arm angle, I think that's
incomplete short to Trey McBride.
I think that's a buddy route, and Marvin Harrison's just putting his hands up for no apparent reason. I don't think he's in the progression.
Let's go over to end zone view. Maybe we might be able to see a better angle. Yeah.
Nice play by Ogba, by the way. Get his hands on McBride.
In coverage too. We didn't see
Mm-hmm.
a lot of that from Emmanuel Ogba. All right, this is the Dolphins on the goal line trying to defend right here, and this play kind of stood out to me because I felt like this could have been offensive pass interference because Javon Holland gets chipped on this play and falls down. Once again, another blitz. Look how many people you have up at the line. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 near the line of scrimmage. And you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But you're having this guy come out to cover James Conner, and you have a free blitzer right here in Jordan Brooks. And let's
Yeah,
take a look at the back
that
end.
play is lost right off the bat when David Long, who's playing leverage, kind of falls down. You could almost see it here.
Right there. Yeah, I thought that was actually Javon Holland because he gets chipped and falls down. I thought this could have been an OPI.
Yeah, but that's David Long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, David Long, for whatever reason, he's playing leverage, and I don't know why. Just get your hands up. It's inside of 5 yards.
All right, and here is the touchdown pass up again at the goal line. Eric, when you saw this touchdown play, what was your initial reaction?
I mean, my initial reaction was that, certainly seemed like Cam Smith is the one who blows the coverage here. As I went back and looked at it, it looks like Javon Holland is trying to make a late adjustment. We saw a few communication errors throughout this game, and this appeared to be one of those, whether it was Holland not relaying it properly or in time, or Smith just completely blowing it. You know, don't know because we're not standing on the field, but you can definitely see that something is changing there, and Holland and Smith are both chasing the same player. So
Yeah, I'll tell you
easy to
exactly
say
what's
Cam
happening.
Smith, but
Go right back to the snap right there. Stop it right there. Okay, he's identifying McBride, right? But if there's a switch release, he's going to have to make a decision right at the snap. And he makes the decision. Roll it. Watch. He's telling him, stop it. Go back a little bit. Okay. He's telling him right there. You see that how he points out to the outside? He's pointing out the switch release, which means that the 1 and the 2 got to pass off their man. So one has to stay high. I mean, one side has to stay outside. One has to stay to the inside. And Holland's already made the decision. He's getting the crosser, right? So yeah, this is just Cam Smith not knowing what the hell he's doing right here. And you kind of get crossed, right? Like Cam Smith, I think, just loses contact. He loses contact with what's happening behind him. But it's a good call. It's a good call by Holland. But man, that's difficult too on the goal line. You got to coordinate that pretty well, and then look at the routes that they're running. It's a
and I
tough,
feel
tough,
like
tough
in
route.
that situation that with experience, Cam Smith can see Holland in front of him and see that Holland is already committed to that guy. At that point, I think that Smith has to turn around and find the guy that they switch, whether he agreed with that or not. You can't just make a mistake and stay committed to it.
Yeah, there's an easier way to play that too. And the thing is, man, I don't know if you have that much time because one thing that they got to show on these things is the play clock because they never do. Because sometimes you just don't have enough time. Sometimes what you could do is you could just triangle that up, okay? But you need time. You need time to set that up because
And
whenever you
the issue is too right here. He's trying to follow Kyler Murray, and he's not trying to stay. He doesn't know where his man is. If he did know where his man was, he should have stayed with them right there. You have a guy, a quarterback who's known for creating off a script, who's mobile enough, who can potentially run for it. Like there's a lot of threats for Kyler Murray to potentially take this for a couple yards and somehow secure a touchdown. But if Cam Smith just stayed in his zone, and if he identified his man well, this play could have been prevented.
Yeah, and let's not
Yeah.
lose sight of the fact that this was, Cam Smith's first game back, right? He hasn't played with him, so it was, like Al said, this is a pretty simple offense, but they do a good job of, creating conflicts that we see multiple times in this game, and that was one of them where, a more, experienced group that's been playing together probably passes that off fairly simple, but when you've got somebody playing their, a young guy, especially playing their first game of the season, then that's the kind of stuff that can happen.
Yeah,
Yep.
sometimes when you're presented with trips on, especially on the goal line, okay, trips, and you know that you can have all kinds of switch releases and pick plays on the goal line, especially when you see trips, you almost expect it, right? Sometimes you'll have the safety, whoever's going to call the whoever's going to make the calls, the coverage calls on that play, just say we're going to tee this up, and when he means by teeing it up is that you're going to essentially get into a triangle formation, and the first guy's just going to take the flat and then it's just left right. It's you're simplifying the coverage and you're basically playing a half zone coverage on that side. That's not what they did. They tried to man up there,
All right.
which is something that they should do. They drill it all week. They install it all week. Cam Smith just lost contact.
Next play, Kyler Murray passed deep right to Trey McBride for 17 yards, first down. And again, it's another blitz call right here. We'll go ahead and run the play. You have Tyus Bowser, Calais Campbell, Deshaun Hand, Emmanuel Ogba right here in number 90. All right, you have Jordan Poyer coming down. Times it, is blocked. It's wide open.
And that's really you're in an impossible spot there if you're Tyus Bowser,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
because he's playing the flat and the intermediate, and they're running the corner off of your side deep. So it's almost a reaction play. It's one of those plays where Kendall Fuller has to almost leave his man to try to cut that space down, but it's an impossible space. It's just a great play call. It's a great play call against the wrong coverage for Miami, the right coverage for the Cardinals.
Yeah, it puts them in impossible decisions there. If Tyus Bowser comes up on Murray, he's throwing, and if he stands back, Murray's going to scramble for an easy 10, 15 yards. And if Fuller comes up, then, that guy's running the flag route to the bottom of the screen there, and Murray just hits it for a touchdown. So, it sucks, but, it's probably the best thing that could have happened there.
Yeah, that's what's called a conflict route. So, yeah,
All right,
it's
next
a
play.
tough spot.
It is the same drive, third quarter, 2nd and 7. Arizona is on Miami's 29-yard line right here. The person to conflict here was Tyus Bowser. He's calling out. He's like, look at the motion, look at the motion, look at the motion. And he's like, oop, now what? He falls down. Locked up. Easy pitch, dump and catch, and communication issues. And then Bowser falls down. You can see David Long getting his hands on it and then passing it off. And Bowser gets locked up.
Yeah, Bowser has to get much wider.
And Eric, I know
I'm not so sure that that's not even offensive pass interference, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking the same. It'd be tough to call that with his back to him there, but it's definitely like he was trying to pick that defender before that dump off was thrown.
Yeah.
Which everybody tries to do, by the way.
Yeah. And Eric, on the post game show, you mentioned about the philosophy of this team. They're picking up guys, off the street, and instead of letting their developmental guys plays like a Mo Camara. I know Quentin Bell is out as well, but a guy like Tyus Bowser has experience in the system, but may be new to some play calls and the new players as well. And the communication could be a little bit shoddy. Right there, was that an example of what you said on the post game show last week?
Yeah, it certainly could be. I mean, there was a linebacker inside. I don't know if it was Long or Brooks that was inside of him there that, could have tried to communicate to him to stay a little wider there, as opposed to getting stuck in the middle there where he got picked. But whether it's not necessarily a communication thing, but just time together where you start to sense where everybody is and where your help's going to be.
Right, and the Dolphins actually, and as part of their game plan installs, they actually quiz the players on what the game plan and the installation and the plays that are going to be there. And I wonder if this was something that could have been a communication error between David Long and Tyus Bowser. All right, last two plays for the blitzes till we get into the Buffalo Seattle game to take a look and preview what the game will be. This is a first down on Miami's 48. Big play for Arizona right here on a Marvin Harrison Jr. catch up against Cam Smith. This was Cam Smith's very first game, and Kyler Murray kind of feasted on him right there as well. You have 6 players coming on a blitz. You have Jordan Brooks coming up this B cap. Almost gets him. I mean, that
Yeah,
was
but
just an
That's an
amazing
almost
play by
impossible
Kyler Murray.
assignment. When you send that many blitzers, you got to get somebody home. And when he doesn't, and especially when you got somebody like Murray who's able to scramble out there, it would be
yeah,
tough to ask any defensive
yeah,
back to stick with a wide receiver. So Cam Smith was put in a bad situation there as well.
yeah. The Cardinals kept 6 in, and you brought 6. You got to be able to defeat that. It also doesn't help that there is no contain on that side because Calais
Nope.
pinches in on the rush, so that breaks contain, and you have a right-handed quarterback rolling right. This is buying all kinds of time. Look what the route is starting on Cam Smith. Like, this is one of those that you don't even charge to Cam Smith. Like, you could almost call this a neutral play by Cam Smith because he just ran 55 yards with Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yep. That just no one got home. No one got home. And in this game, Dolphins had 7 pressures in this game on 15 blitzes, and they did not get home once at all. This was a failure on just the pressure on the players not being able to get onto Kyler Murray, and they could have touched him a couple of times already. All right, last play. This is a 3rd and 1 on Arizona's 20. This was Arizona's final drive of the game where they scored the game-winning field goal.
Yep.
3rd and 1, and this is a big pass play to Trey McBride right here. You're in dime.
Yep. We have Kendall Fuller here all the way on the inside there, and the orange cleats is going, I think. And that's going to put Poyer in a man-to-man situation there. Again, the type of blitz that you gotta have something get home there, and you're putting Poyer into a bad situation to be 10 yards off trying to play man coverage, and that's a lot of field to
1,
cover.
2,
And
3,
Murray does a
4,
good
5.
job of hitting the area that's vacated by the blitzer.
Story of the game, no one gets home. All right, we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of the blitzes the Seattle Seahawks tried to do on Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, and maybe something the Dolphins could look to do once again. We know Anthony Weaver likes to get creative in his blitzes. Maybe you could take a page out of the Seattle Seahawks playbook right here. Ooh, let me go ahead and refresh it. Here we go. All right, 1st and 10 at the Buffalo yard line. They're 10 yards off the goal line, and this is the very first quarter. Go ahead and run the play. You can see the secondary communicating who's having what, who's doing what, changing up the signals at the line. And Josh Allen is canning the play right there. Play action. No pressure even there on Josh Allen. Let's go
So
ahead and
they
take a
actually
look
have
at
a
the
six
play.
lineman here. If you look on the right side there, that number 70 is lined up in a tight end position. That's a extra lineman in the formation.
Yep, that's guard Alec Anderson.
Which is something that they do very often. And this was a half field coverage as well. It's like some type of cover three.
hmm the guy in conflict was linebacker Ernest Jones, and you think that the Bills are going to try to get Dalton Kincaid on David Long Jr. as well. All right, 3rd and 4, Buffalo's 39-yard line, first quarter. Again, Josh Allen passed short left to Dalton Kincaid for 6 yards on a 3rd and 4 play. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players at or near the line of scrimmage. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 rushers, 3 dropping back. And look at the secondary right here. They're off. So you're looking at maybe a crosser here or an out right there. You're not going to get your hands um, on the guy, so they're coming off of coverage right here.
Yep.
Easy
So just
pitch and
another
get.
situation where, yep, he sees where that blitz is coming. He knows there's no way that defender is playing 10 yards off the ball is going to be able to get to that out route there. So he's just putting it on him as soon as he makes his break.
All right, 3rd and 15 at Buffalo's 29-yard line in the first quarter as well. A lot of their blitzes were in the first quarter, and then the Seattle Seahawks kind of backed off and started playing zone. All right, you have trips all the way to the right. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 coming in near the line of scrimmage. And you have drop back. Easy wide receiver screen. No one that is able to get hands on the wide receivers.
And that's a great great blitz beater as well to be able to hit the screen pass, because then, you know, they have to slow down and watch as players are releasing and things like that. So you'll see teams that will run screens when they anticipate a blitz just to try to get them with, you know, those extra guys that are getting upfield, and then get a screen to the perimeter or just a middle screen where, you know, you then have a numbers advantage once the reception's made.
All right, second quarter, 2-minute warning. Buffalo is nearby midfield, and this is a 16-yard play. This is 1st and 10. All right, shotgun as well. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 at the line of scrimmage. You're looking at off coverage right here.
Like
Here's
man
Khalil
coverage
Shakir.
with the slot corner going off.
Let's take a look. Cans the play. All right, Alf, what do you think Josh Allen is seeing right here?
Well, first of all, to the field side, you know, you have man up coverage, so and you have the safety right on the hash. So if I'm Josh Allen, I'm already liking my matchup up top. So I'm going from right to left on my progression here, because you're gonna have the numbers. You can count the numbers right there. You have 1, 2, 3 eligibles. You have 3 in coverage. To the bottom of the screen, you have your back. You have 1 eligible, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 defenders. So this is one of those disguised coverages where they're gonna roll the coverage. But if you're quick with it and you're fast at the snap, you're gonna take advantage of a numbers game here.
Roll that back to the beginning. Because if you look at the way that defense is aligned, you can kind of anticipate where that blitz is going to come from. Like I said, you got the 3 receivers to the top there, but there's no linebackers that are to the right side of the offense's formation. Both those linebackers are to the offense's left side, right? And there's only the running back to that side. So, you know, talking about what Josh Allen's seeing, you know, we saw the slot go into motion that kind of sells the man coverage likely. And then the way those linebackers are aligned, it's definitely looking like the safety is going to be manned up on that, on the tight end there, and that one of those 2 linebackers is going to be manned up on the running back with the other one coming.
And to play one last time, you have the roll coverage, you have the safety manned up on this tight end, and you're going to have an inside Inside release, inside route for Khalil Shakir right here.
And I'll tell you one thing: if you look up top, Seattle. I don't know if they're guessing or they have a really good scouting report, but to the field side, allowing an outside release is a disaster in waiting. You see it right there.
Yep.
But the guy ran. I forgot what they call it. They call it a return route. So he ran a return route. If it's a go, like wow, like it's the worst possible coverage you can have.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's something Miami would never see, by the way.
And
Nobody
very
would
last
ever outside release against Miami to the field side ever.
No. And then the last play in the fourth quarter, 1st and 10, Buffalo 38-yard line. This was a pass to Dalton Knox, and the Bills are up by 21 by 3 touchdowns right here. They could basically do whatever the heck they want in the passing game. Go ahead and run the play. Motion. Cans the play. Once again, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At the line of scrimmage, you could potentially have the safety come downhill as well. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rushing. And you have the linebacker, Ernest Jones, with a busted coverage.
Yeah, and I think that was a poor alignment from the start, especially with no real blitz there. I mean, look at where the linebackers are aligned. Like
It looks like
first
he's
one to the
manned
left
up
side.
on the running back.
Yeah, he's like in the A gap there, and the only other guy in pass coverage is the corner on that side. So again,
what I don't understand is that they're lined up. The Bills are. You can stop it right there. Stop it right there. Bills are lined up on the left hash, and you have nobody on the right hash. Like at the very least, the safety should be at 10 yards on the left hash.
Right here.
But the linebacker, for whatever reason,
this is just making it too easy on Allen.
Yeah, the linebacker's staring at the B gap for no reason whatsoever.
Maybe that's probably why Ernest Jones got traded to the Tennessee Titans. Wait, did Ernest Jones get traded to the Tennessee Titans, or was that Jerome Baker?
Like Jerome Baker's the one that got traded to the Tennessee Titans. But think about how bad this is. You told me it was his 1st and 10.
Yeah, this is 1st and 10.
This is 1st and 10. Go back to the snap. Think about how bad this is. Okay, if you're trying to set up and look, man's in motion, so now your corner's occupied. Stop it. Okay, stop it. Go back to the right. Stop it. Okay, you have ace, right? And you have twins. So you're talking about you're going to have to think about the run fits, okay?
You have 6 offensive linemen right here.
Yeah.
Okay, think about the run fits you got to get on here somehow. You got to get somebody out on the outside shoulder of the last man of the ace formation, right? And then you have to have somebody scrape to the B and the A and somebody to the B and the C. So you need 3 players to run fit this if it's outside zone to the right. Okay? If they run outside zone to the field side. They're improperly aligned. Look, I don't know. I'm not going to say that I know what I'm doing more than Josh Allen, but if I'm Josh Allen, I'm checking to outside zone right here with James Cook, and they're just outnumbered. They're flanked. They're outright flanked in the run game.
Yeah, I agree. The run was certainly there with that. As far as that pass, like I said, you got all you have is that corner on the top there. So that's just a simple, a one read for Allen that whichever way that corner goes, you just hit the other guy. But yeah, I agree that it didn't look like Seattle adjusted to the extra lineman there, and anything to the right side there, especially outside zone, was probably going to go big as well.
Yeah, they were short. They're short one man right there on the run fit, and they were short one man in coverage. Like they aligned themselves into that. Yeah, they aligned themselves into that big game.
All right. If we're taking a look at the offensive statistics specifically for the Buffalo Bills, they are a top 3 team in terms of EPA per play on the offensive side of the ball. Let me go ahead and share it up right here. They're number 3 in terms of EPA per play. Success rate, top 10. Passing the ball, top 3. Success rate, top 10. Running the ball, top 5. in EPA. In success rate running the ball, top 10. Are we going to see another version of this Arizona game for this Dolphins defense, or will they be able to adjust? Alf, what are your thoughts?
I think that Miami will have a very, very different game plan for Josh Allen, namely because we already saw it once. We saw Miami play them already once, and I thought the game plan was pretty good against Josh Allen the first time around. You just allowed 2 short fields, and of course, you had 3 turnovers. But I thought the defense played fine in that first game. They missed some run fits. I would expect Miami to not be as exotic as they tried to be against Kyler Murray. I think they'll be much more basic
Yep.
and very much more conservative, I would say.
Eric.
I don't like the individual matchups. Like you guys said, you got to be a little more basic with it. When you start sending those extra players, a lot of times you end up having to go into man coverage. And we were talking about, Keon Coleman and the tight ends that the Bills have. It's not a great matchup for Miami to get into a game where you're trying to play man coverage and hoping those blitzes get home. I mean, we've had too many blitzes these last 2 weeks, or 2 games between the Colts and the Cardinals, where the free blitzers seem to get home and just not able to bring the quarterback down. And when you play against a guy like Josh Allen, if you get into that situation, then those are the plays where he makes you pay for them.
All right. And when we take a look at the defensive statistics when the Dolphins played the Buffalo Bills, the Dolphins defense was ranked 11th in EPA per play. The Bills defense was ranked 16th, even with the turnovers. The success rate, the Dolphins were top 10 up against this Buffalo offense. In the passing game, the Dolphins were 8th in terms of EPA. In success rate, the Dolphins were 13th. The Bills were 5th because of the turnovers, and Tua getting hurt led to Skylar Thompson playing, and Skylar Thompson was not really ready to play. In terms of defending the run, the Dolphins were 19th defending the run. The Bills were 32nd. They were the worst team in defending the run up against the Dolphins that week. They allowed a 50% success rate, and they were 28th in terms of success rate up against this Dolphins running game. The Dolphins were 7th best in success rate up against this Buffalo Bills offense. This Dolphins defense is going to have to do the same exact thing. The Dolphins offense will have to do the same exact thing that they tried to do, just limit their turnovers. And I think Tua may have to play hero ball in this game if this Dolphins defense can't stop Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen.
Yeah, I agree. I think that for the Dolphins to win this game, I think they're going to have to score quite a few points. I don't see this, being a game where the Dolphins defense keeps the Bills to 10 points or anything like that. I feel like they did run the ball pretty well in that first game. Hopefully we don't have a receiver that lets the ball bounce off their shoulder pad into an interception this time, and or a quarterback that tries to throw the ball out of bounds from the far hash and have a linebacker there to return it. Hopefully we avoid those kind of wild plays and we're able to keep it close. And hopefully at the end of the game the defense is able to get a stop that either wins the game or puts the ball back in our offense's hands this time.
Yeah, and the offense is able to execute the plays perfectly as they scripted up in the final drive to actually get a score, potentially a game-winning field goal. Alf, what's your expectations and what's your theory for this Dolphins offense up against this Bills defense?
They had some good ideas the first time around on offense. They've been working on these deep over routes to try to get deep shots against a lot of cover 2 shells that they've been seeing. They worked on them, and they hit these plays twice against the Jaguars. They tried to hit it once against the Bills, and they were pretty close to hitting it to Tyreek Hill. I think you got to employ that because there really is no answer to it. Even if with a cover 2 shell, there is no answer to it.
I think there was a play where Eric, when Tyler Huntley got hurt up against the Colts, when we mentioned about the Tyreek Hill dig route when he was basically in a triangle coverage and Odell Beckham Jr. was basically not covered as well, and Huntley could have hit him, and if that was Tua should have got for him. And I think that they're going to try to get those overs up against Taylor Rapp and DeMar Hamlin, especially if those safeties are a little bit near the line of scrimmage and the run game is working.
Yeah, as long as the Bills' safeties are running side to side and not forward and backward, Miami should be in pretty good shape offensively.
All right, what do we think about the game prediction? Alf, we'll start with you first.
Well, I'm going to give my prediction on my preview tomorrow, but I will say this: I think that the Dolphins will play well. Will they win? I don't know, but I think that they'll play well. I think that this game should be closer than some think.
And if they don't, is there a change on the way?
Yeah, if they don't play well in this game, then you got to start looking within. You got to start looking at a lot of positions on this team that you counted on that pretty much let you down. So that's the way I would look at it. The result almost doesn't matter in this game on Sunday, but this game is extremely important. One of the most important games of the year, and one of the most important games for this current build.
Eric.
Yeah, I agree a lot with a lot of what Alf said, that the outcome of the game doesn't matter as much as the product that's put out there. Obviously, to have any shot at playoffs, you got to win this one and start some kind of win streak to get back into it. But in terms of those decisions being made, if they play a good game, it's a close game, and it comes down to a final possession, then I think you come out of the game feeling a little better about, the not necessarily the future of this season, but the idea that they might be able to build on it. If they come out this week and they just get waxed all over the field, and we're looking at another 25, 30-point loss, then I don't know how you come out of that week without some heads rolling.
As always, y'all, thank you for sticking with us here on the 5 Reasons Sports, here on the Scouting Combine. Make sure you are subscribed to the OnlyFins Discord. The link is below. And if you guys have not seen my tweet yet, I am doing my master's thesis on how to communicate advanced analytics to you guys, Dolphins fans. So I'm doing a pretty cool thesis right there. Make sure you guys are able to take a look at my tweet, do my survey as well. Going to be some interesting things coming out for my graduate thesis as well. As always, y'all, go Fins.